Hello and welcome to Richard's Home Mechanics, and this is part 3 of the Suzuki GS 250 TT project that we're working on at the moment. Today what I want to achieve is I want to replace the oil pressure switch, which is not working. Now in the previous videos you'll see we've tested it and we seem to have proved that this is not working. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this out, the old one out of the bike, and replace it with this one that I've managed to get hold of. Being Japanese, they have different fittings to undo the screws. So I've had a hunt around in the garage and I found this, my old screwdriver bit there. So I've got loads and loads and loads of screwdriver fittings, but unfortunately they don't fit on a normal screwdriver. So what I've had to do, I've made up a little adapter. Now these screws on these Japanese bikes, whether it's a crankcase or anything on here, are going to be really tight, and you normally get only one hit at undoing them. Normally you can use a screwdriver in the old days, but you can use an impact screwdriver. But what I've done, I've made an adaptation for a socket. So once I've found the correct screwdriver bit, say for instance that, I can slide it in the end, job's a good one, get it on the casing, and I can actually get a good crack with a ratchet. So that's the way we're going to approach this. But first of all, I just need to make sure that I've got a right screwdriver fit that fits in that slot before we go any further. Okie dokie, right, happy days on this one. I've just had another quick recce around the bike where we're going to take out the oil pressure switch, and to do that we've got to take out the timing plate. Now bear with me, I can't remember all the reference names for all these parts because I work on so many vehicles. We used to call it a back plate, timing plate, pickup. There's no points, it's the electronic pickup. So if I get the terminology wrong, please go with me on this one. So anyway, I'm going to take the back plate off, which will also remove the pickups for the coils. But fortunately, someone's been there before and they've replaced it with Allen screws. So even better, so we can use one of these. While we're down there, obviously we're going to be disturbing or altering the advance and retard on the ignition for the spark, which is when you rotate the back plate, as you'll see. So I'm not too fussed about it being spot on, but what I'm going to do, an old trick I use, is I use one of these. Now people used to use Tipp-Ex to mark up on the plates, but I found Tipp-Ex would wipe off sometimes. It was a little bit oily. So we're going to give the back plate a quick wipe, and we're going to use this, and you'll see what I'm going to use it for, to mark up. So when we put the timing plate back on again, the back plate with the pickups and everything, it will be practically spot on to how it was before. I'm not saying the time's going to be correct, because when we go back to eventually try and start this, we will check the timing anyway. So let's get down to that bike and let's get this oil pressure sensor switch out, shall we? Right, we're back on the bike here now. So this here is what a lot of the scrap yards use. It's called a paint pen. So you know when you buy parts from a scrap yard and you have lines across it to stop you taking tampering bits and sending it back. Now this is what I'm going to mark up. So what I'm going to do, give it a quick shake. I'm going to do some marking points. So I'm going to do one there. I'm going to do one there. And let's do another one there. So as you can see there, and let's do, just for say, let's do 4. Here we go. So I've done 4 points there of identification, and I'm going to put on that, going right there, number 1 on the side here. So I know. Right, so what I've done now, just going to let that dry for a minute. When I put this plate back on, it can go straight back on how it was. As I say, I'm not saying the time is going to be right, because it could be out. We're going to adjust that later, but I just want to put it back roughly as it come off. Now fortunately, these are Allen keys, so let's crack these off. Here we go, nice crack. It's not too bad, I don't think. Let's have a look. Put that down there. Put that down there. Now you can see the pickups there, look. Instead of having points, we've got pickups, which is like electronic ignition. Much better. I remember the days of setting up the points all the time with a fag paper. I mean, I never smoked, but with a rolly paper. God, I'm glad them days are gone. So we're going to take that off there. Actually, what I will do is just put a 1 on there and a 1 there, so I know that's the number 1. And let's just move that out the way gently, and that can just sit out the way. Got a little screw there to undo. Let's have a look. I might have to get a little socket. Let's have a look. Bear with me. I'm just going to get a little tiny socket because I don't want to strip the end of that. Right, we're back again. Fortunately, over the years, I've collected quite a few tools. And I've got a little mini socket that fit on there. I don't want to strip the end of that. Let's just crack this earth wire. I'm going to hold this earth wire and we're going to loosen it off like that. So that's what we're after, that little oil pressure switch. Here we go. Put that screw down there somewhere safe. Right. Right, let's have a look. See if we can get this little monkey out. Socket on. Should be anti-clockwise. I haven't put too big a ratchet on here. Here we go. It's coming off nicely. And there we go. 1 oil pressure switch, which is, I believe, to be faulty. We need to get the new one in, don't we? Before we go any further, now we've got the old switch out and we've got the new switch here. Let's just confirm on the bench that this has not got continuity, which is highly likely the reason why we haven't got an oil pressure light signal being sent back to the actual lamp fitting in the display on the cluster. So this is the new one, or second hand one. We're going to do a continuity. Let's go down and just do a continuity and just confirm that this switch has actually had its day. Here we go. So here we go. I hope you can see this. We've got the meter here. Let's turn it so you can see it. Right, let's set it to continuity, which is Omega. Test the leads. That's the resistance through the leads. We're not going to null it. We're not fussed about. We just want to prove continuity. So this is the new one. So let's, or the new reconditioned one. Let's test this. Have we got continuity? Let's go to a lower range on that and just double check. There we go, 13.8. We've got a resistance of 13.8, and that's on the one that we are going to put in the bike. Now, this is the one that's come out of the bike, which we tested in situ, if you remember, on my previous videos, and we all think it's highly likely this has had it. So let's do exactly the same test on this one as we've done on the one we're going to replace here, yeah? Now, this is the one we've taken out of the bike. As you can see, that switch is never going to work. It's as dead as a dodo. We'll go back to the new one, or the reconditioned one, do exactly the same test. Continuity. Simple test. Now, we've just proved on the bike and also off the bike that that oil pressure switch has had its day. So we need to get this switch back in and see if we can get an oil pressure light working. Right, we're back down at the bike. Now, this is the oil pressure switch we're going to replace, and after looking at it, I was expecting there to be some sort of O-ring on there to make a seal on there. I mean, that is actually open to the engine, and as a pressure switch works, as you know, that goes inside there and the oil comes up against there. And obviously, if you haven't got no sort of seal, the oil's going to leak. Now, it seems to me that when they made them, they seem to have used some sort of silicone. Now, I'm not sure what silicone to use on that. I have got silicons, but it's going to have to be quite a silicone that can take a high temperature. So what we're going to do, I'm going to temporarily put this switch in for now, complete the video, see if we can get the light fitting done, and then I'll do a little bit of homework and just see exactly what sort of silicone seal we can use to seal this, and then I will come back at a later date and just bolt it up and connect it up. But all we're trying to do today is to actually prove that we can, the other switch was faulty, the oil pressure switch was faulty, and we've hopefully got it working. So we're just going to temporarily push this in here. So as you can see, it's not going to be started, it's not going to be leaked. We just want to prove that the oil pressure switch works. We're going to nip it up because we need to make a good earth on there. Just nip it up lightly, like so. Again, this will be coming out at a later date when I re-silicon it, but I'm just not sure what to use on that. So I need to do a little bit of homework on that. We need to put the earth wire obviously back on there, like so. A little bit fiddly, as so, as you can see. Come on, there we go. Let's put that screw in first. There we go. Push that little connector under there, the little wire connection. That should just slot under there with a bit of luck, like so. There we go. Right, where's my little socket? Nip that up, like so. Bit fiddly. Just hold that there to support that. Not to go too tight on that. We'll just put this back plate in temporary. We know roughly how it goes. It doesn't matter really. We lined it up with a number 1. Here we go. Oops. That should sit just underneath there like that. We'll line that up with the number 1. That looks pretty good. And we'll just temporarily put these screws back in. As I say, this will be coming out at a later date for me to actually reseal that oil pressure switch. So we'll just put it in there for now, just to keep it out of harm's way. There we go. That's that one. Put that one in there. There we go. See your adjustment on there. But you can see, if you can see, but I'm not sure if you can see, but by putting them little marks there, it's all lined up. So if this was on the side, say I was at home and this bike was actually on the road and I just need to replace that quickly, by marking that up, I could have taken the back plate out, get the oil pressure switch back in, bolted up and back on the road without having to really reset the timing. That's my theory anyway. That's what I used to do on the old magnetos and dynamos on the old cars and that. This screw's being a little fiddly. If it carries on doing that, I'll put a little bit of grease on there. There we go. Just turn that around a little bit. It seems a little bit out, that one. Here we go. There you go. That's stuck there for some reason, but it's all right. Just keep persevering. As you see, I tried to put the screw in there and it wasn't going in square, so there's no point stripping it. We undone it, loosened it and reset it. Now that's not too bad. All them marking linings are marked up, but it doesn't matter at the moment. So what I do now then, I need to get a power source connected to this bike and let's actually see if we can get a light up on the dash. Hi, we're back again. Right, moment of truth. Have we fixed this oil pressure light? There's a lot holding on this. Without that working, I'm very, very reluctant to try and attempt to start it again. We need this oil pressure light working. Now, we've done everything we can through from the wire testing the oil pressure switch, all the way from there, all the way up. We've tested the switch in situ. We've tested the switch out of the bike. I can't see no reason why it shouldn't work. Let's see. Is this lamp going to light up? If it does, it'll be happy days for me. There we go. We've got an oil pressure switch. That's made me a very happy man. There we go. We've got the oil pressure light switch. So now we can progress on with the Suzuki GS 250 TT. I think the next stage is, I have already taken the carburetors off with my friend Steve. I have actually got a ultrasonic cleaner now. So it's only logic that we need to get these carburetors stripped, cleaned out in the ultrasonic cleaner, get it back on the bike. The only issue I can see is I'm going to have to make up some sort of temporary fuel tank, because the original tank is, I think, it's got crud in it. I don't even want to go there to the late stages of the build of this bike. Been thinking about using a mini moto tank, because you could pick them up for about £6 and just put a bit of pipe on that. If anyone's got any ideas what I can use to actually make a temporary tank up there, I was thinking of using a funnel, not sure yet. Anyway, leave some comments if you've got any ideas what you boys out there use. Looking to make a temporary tank just to hang up from the joists in the garage, just so we can trickle a bit of fuel into these carburetors when we fit them. Anyway, thank you again. Thank you for visiting my channel, and the subscribers old and new. Thank you very much. I check every one of you that make a comment. At this particular time I am able to reply to comments, and thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next episode on possibly the Suzuki GS 250 project. See you soon on Richard's Home Mechanics. Goodbye for now.